Anyway, hey, what's going on? I'm Mr. Amazing. We're here at the podcast studios here in Kingsland, Texas. Where's that? Good luck finding it on a map, but it's out here somewhere in Texas. Drive down a couple roads. Every road leads to Kingsland.
That sounds like a song.
That does sound like a song. Well, we're going to be singing that later. Not. Anyway. Yeah, I'm Mr. Amazing, a.k.a. Mr. Amazing. This is George. This is Kim Burley. And then we got a guest today. It's Kurt. You're like, Kurt.
Who's Kurt?
Who's Kurt? Well, yeah, who is Kurt?
Who is Kurt? That's a good question.
Yeah.
That is Kurt.
Hopefully we know that by the end of this
Yes.
little show.
He's
We'll
a
see.
mystery.
He's a mystery.
We can-
Anyway, so we got some new things happening. We are going to be working on a DVD here soon. And if we can't get into Pando, we're going to start throwing DVDs at the prison system. Right?
Ninja stars.
Swing it up.
Because, hey, whatever it's going to take. Because you know what? I saw this at one of the units the other day. They have a TV in the little library, and they play movies on the TV that goes through the whole unit. And then I'm like, boom!
There it
We
is.
could bring it. We could bring a podcast in, play it
Podcast.
all over the unit.
Yeah.
It'll be the greatest thing ever because the unit will be a smiles for the whole time it's going on.
Yeah.
It's like a pin drop in that place. Like, shh, Mr. Amazing and the crew is on. Shh.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's going to be.
Well, actually, probably people are going to get hurt because they're going to be shut up and like, what you tell me to do?
And then there'll be a fight that breaks out.
There'll be a fight that breaks out.
Oh, no.
Which I don't really want that in the men's prison because you can get hurt over there. But in a women's prison, well, you know, whatever. Just
Yeah,
kidding. Just kidding, Kim.
They'll just yell and pull hair.
They'll just, yeah, I know, but that's okay. Yeah. Anyway, so the guest today is Kurt, and Kurt, why don't you tell everybody here in TV land exactly how in the world we met?
So we met over 20 years ago,
Mm.
and I was a seventh grader at a little church in Cherokee, and Tom was my youth pastor.
Huh? Imagine that.
Yeah.
Did he wear his spikes?
Not at the time, but he has. That's when he started wearing them. Was like during that time.
Dang, Hardcore Tom.
Found the
Yeah.
spikes. I guess it was a little bit afterwards.
Maybe a little bit afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went out to Cherokee. Why? Because the church I was at, they didn't want me, which is all right. And then after about 7 years, they didn't want me out there at Cherokee either. Yeah.
We still wanted you. I still wanted you.
Yeah, the kids still wanted me. I know it's kind of a sad ordeal, but whatever. It is what it is. So I remember a couple things, Kurt. I remember like when I went out there, your brother was, right, he was in high school.
Yeah, he was in high school.
Right, so I could
Yeah.
I could handle the kids when they were in high school. Junior high kids, they were annoying. And they probably still are.
I was the annoying seventh grader.
Yeah, you weren't that bad. Well,
Yeah.
what do you do for a living now?
So I'm an elementary principal now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. You were always good with kids.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
patience.
It's fun. I enjoy it. Love it. It's my calling.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely something that the Lord placed on my heart probably when I was 18 to be a teacher, go into education.
Hmm.
And then just kind of doors started opening up. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
How do you feel about that calling, George?
So the Lord might be calling me to one more year of teaching and then retiring. So we'll see. We'll see what the Lord says.
Yeah.
It's the before and after.
It's the
here.
before and after, yeah.
My problem is sometimes I only listen to hear what I want to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
So if God's saying you still have so many years, I'm like, I don't know if I heard you right.
Is that what you said, guys?
This is the year. This
Yeah.
is the year we start. No, I still love it. This is a hard time, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
Some people love the excitement of the new year and all that. My anxiety's like on 12. So I'm
Yeah.
like, talk to me mid-September and I'm great.
Oh, yeah. My anxiety right now is pretty high. I'm excited about the new school year, but just all the preparation that goes in.
Wow. Sounds
For
like a bunch
everything.
of nerds here.
It's very nerdy.
Well,
Nerdy talk.
you fit right in, Kim. I'm the one that doesn't fit
Really?
into this group.
Oh,
She's calling us out as nerds.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
fit into
excited
this.
about the new school year.
So tell me, how was your last game?
possibilities.
How was the last round of Magic the Gathering? How'd that go for you?
Dang. Y'all can just
Oh,
hang
I
out
can-
one day. Dang.
I'll promise you what, I had never said that my whole life. I can't wait for the school year.
Yeah, I don't think I
never
ever
said
did
that.
either. But, it's cool. I'm glad that we got these two,
Yeah.
molding
How would y'all
young
feel about
minds of
education
America.
if we were like, oh my
Yeah, I hate
gosh, there's
school.
another year?
And I'm the principal. That would be awful.
Well, so you get fired by the superintendent this week. Yeah, it's okay.
Saw you
I
on
watched
that
your podcast. Yeah.
Don't watch
We
that.
need to talk.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, when I went out there to Cherokee, they had what they called 6-man football, and I had never heard about 6-man football before. So I decided to go to a game. Right. So you go to a game and there's no band. There's no band, like a marching band or any band. There's nobody in the stands with a drum.
We had one drum.
Well, not till later.
Yeah.
But when I went out there the first time, there's no drum, there's nothing. And then the halftime, all the kids run into the field or run into the locker room, and there's no halftime show. I remember this as plain as day. No halftime show. I'm like, no cheerleaders, no nothing. And then all of a sudden, a dog runs out on the field and takes a dump on the field. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's the halftime show? But it's figured. I don't know if you even remember.
Oh, I
me-
remember that. It was like,
I'm just like, is somebody going to go clean that up before the kids come back out here?
No, they don't.
you remember it was Kokisa's dad who walks, had the long hair, the dude with the long hair, runs out on the football field with the shovel.
He did. pick it
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Shovels it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's 20 years ago. I'm
Good
still
times.
laughing about how ridiculous that was. The greatest halftime show I've ever seen in my life.
We're
Taking
still
a
talking
dump
about
right
it.
on the
I
right on
know.
the goal line or something like that.
That was just
crazy.
unbelievable. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. That's the halftime show? Right? Good times, good memories.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a crazy place. Like I was telling Kurt earlier before we got onto the camera, Cherokee's like 40 miles from where I live. And I was wondering where it was that I passed by that all of a sudden I was in the Twilight Zone, because it was like the Twilight Zone. And I could say that now because I've already been fired once from there. They're not going to fire me again. But anyway, good times.
They might call you up and say we voted.
They might do that. That was tough. That was tough.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was good times. And I was thinking about, there was one time I remember, Kurt, because I was the youth guy, right? I was the youth guy and Kurt was in the group. And one time I came on a Wednesday and Kurt was the only kid there. Just
Really?
one kid.
Just him?
Just him.
By himself?
Just by himself.
What would y'all do?
Yeah, I don't even remember what we did. I just remember it was just one kid. And I thought, man, I suck at this. I suck at
Oh,
this.
that's sad.
And Kurt's like, you know what? You do.
I did
You
not
do
say
suck
that.
at this. But if you start getting pizza, you could start getting more kids here. And then which I know that we did pizza, but it wasn't for that reason. But then we'll get pizza, and then next thing you know, more kids came.
They were hungry.
There was a kid named Roy. Hey, Roy, if you're ever watching this, yeah, I'm calling you out. He would always come by in the car, and he would never come in. He was like come up there and try to sneak a piece of pizza and then run off. Anyway, good times.
Eventually, he did come in.
Eventually, he did come in.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Kurt, before we go farther into this, give me one of your stories, because I'm not really Mr. Amazing to you. I'm just, I don't even know who I am to you.
Tom.
You're
But,
Tom, my
yeah.
youth minister.
So, what, you got a story? Can you even remember anything? Anything?
There's so many stories. Like,
Give us something that's super boring that nobody will think it's any good.
Meaning, give us the best you got.
the best I got.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we traveled. We would go on mission trips every summer. That was awesome.
Really?
Went
Like
to-
where?
Yeah, we went to Iowa one summer. Went to Cheyenne, Wyoming another summer. Then you took us to Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Where would y'all do?
summer.
Went to Mexico.
Went to Mexico. Lots of Mexico trips.
Yeah.
Y'all
That was fun.
do like evangelism?
We
and
went
stuff?
at the end of it. We had this puppet thing. Miss Sedani and Dixon. They were pretty good at doing that. They were good at
puppet show.
For me, like, I'm super cool, so some of that was really nerdy to me. So it wasn't like, you probably would have liked it, but for me it was just like, it was a little bit corny. But you know what? It was actually pretty cool.
It was
You
pretty
went to
cool.
competitions, and we had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of kids involved in it.
We had a lot of
too.
kids involved.
That's awesome.
We would go to different churches and we would do puppet shows and we did vacation Bible schools.
Yeah. You remember the time we went to Pecos? I still use that as an example of teaching in the prison class.
That's
in the
pretty
prison.
cool.
When the pastor, the first day, he says, yeah, nobody's going to come to this.
Yeah, we had 93 kids show up
Yeah.
or something
That's
like
The
crazy.
last
like
day,
that.
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was good stuff.
We were a little overwhelmed.
We
like,
were.
Whoa.
So is the pastor just a negative dude?
Negative. Well, it was the deadest place I've ever been because I
Yeah.
had never been to a place that was so dead. And you say to yourself, well, how dead was it, Tom? And I said, it was so dead the McDonald's was boarded up. I ain't never seen a McDonald's boarded up, and I
It
ain't
looked
never
like a
seen one
ghost town.
since.
Yeah.
First one closed.
Yeah, it was a ghost town. So whatever.
You haven't been to Yantis yet.
Yantis.
I haven't
That's
even
that
heard of a
town.
Yantis, so you're
Never
right.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Where's
That's where
Yantis?
I'm from.
Oh, that's on the other side of Kingsland.
That's like, that's in East
200
Texas.
miles.
Yeah.
It's 200
Oh,
miles.
yeah, Yantis. That's in East Texas. Like over there by, like Sulphur Springs, Tyler, Greenville.
Oh, that's way out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dead. It's a dead town like that.
Super dead. Anyway, so I want to do. I don't even know what I want to say. Like I said, never should do drugs. Ruined your brain. It's crazy. Anyway, so I enjoyed my time out there in Cherokee. I really did.
It was awesome. I mean, that's where I came to know the Lord
Yeah,
when I was a kid.
a lot of kids.
He had a big impact in my life. So, yeah.
You know what, Kurt, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go out on the limb here because, when I'm teaching classes at the prison system and I will talk about, you need to find the right guy. You need to find a guy who's this and that. And everyone's like, there ain't those guys left. Those guys aren't available. Those guys are blue. That's all I hear. But you know what, Kurt was never, you probably can't say it. Kurt never did drugs. Right, yeah. Kurt was. I don't know if he ever drank, maybe a little bit. I don't know if he ever did, but Kurt pretty much stayed out of trouble for the most part, didn't you?
Try to, yeah.
Through high school.
You
had a little.
There were some of those moments. You have weak moments,
but you never got crazy. You were always the kid that actually thought about stuff before you did it. That's why we got along so good because it was great minds thinking alike, right? Because I would never do that. So
I was like, I don't know about that, Tom. You
I don't
shouldn't
know.
probably do that.
But when Kurt was in high school, a matter of fact, Kurt, something that which I don't know if we can cut this out if you don't want to put it on there. But at your wedding, which you invited me to, which I thought was like, oh my gosh, you invited me to your wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would have had my feelings hurt if you didn't.
Of course, you were invited to my wedding.
So anyway, your dad and your mom there, when you were in high school, they had a little issues.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think they split up for a little while.
They did for like 7 years.
Was it that long?
Yeah, 5 or 7. I think it was 7 years.
Did they get back together?
They did.
They did.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I use your mom too as an example because your mom, I was surprised that your mom left. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not surprised she left, but I was a little bit, I thought, because your mom is a dedicated Christian.
Oh yeah.
I mean, die-hard Christian lady. I mean, if you're talking to her, she's throwing Jesus out somewhere in the conversation.
Oh yeah. She's gonna tell you about Jesus at some point.
Even if she hits her thumb with a hammer, she's like, Jesus, I love you. And you're like, what? Right? But anyway, so Kurt, right? So your dad came up to me at your wedding and he said, hey, thanks for, I don't know his exact words, but thanks for helping raise my kid when I was a butthead or whatever he said. And you know what? I'm like, what? Right? Because I never really looked at it that way, right? Because I know I'm older than you, but we kind of grew up together in a way.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty cool. Right?
That is pretty cool. Yeah. And I would say, yeah, I mean, that's very true. I say this a lot. You need somebody else pouring into your kids besides just your parents at times, It's sometimes that extra voice is what really is what kids are going to hear, The parents may be saying the same thing, but somebody else comes in and says it. That's what they
It was easier for me because, man, we was always having a good time.
We were having a great time. Yeah.
Right? And I remember, which is crazy, George, I was at a youth group and I was the youth guy. I would take the kids by myself. We'd go all over the place by myself. And then Kurt's mom would come every once in a while, or sometimes she was the girl chaperone.
Yeah.
Right? And then we had this guy named Janine, which one time we were on some toll road where there was no way to get off the toll road anyway. I ditched him. But there was no place because you couldn't get off. There was only one exit, and we were getting off at that exit. Well, when we got off there, he was pissed. I was like, well, we knew you were getting off at this exit. Anyway, that was...
I bet you were amazing as a youth minister.
Amazing?
Yeah, I don't know if I was amazing or not, but I was pretty fun.
He was pretty fun.
I was pretty
Yeah,
fun.
we had a great time. He was amazing.
But I needed
It was
to.
amazing.
I wish that the one regret that I have is I wish that I would have known now what I teach in the prison system. I would have taught you kids about your worth and your value and how incredible you are. Because back in those days, man, there was a lot of kids that went to youth group that didn't have the normal family.
Yeah, a lot.
Lived with their grandparents, or they were foster kids, or they had a lot of it just wasn't normal.
Right.
I hate to, what else do you say? So you know what? I wish that I would have been able to speak some more of that into those kids.
Well, I'll say, like, because of I think because of you, because of Jesus, I became a youth minister in working with youth as well as at our church. And so, I mean, that had a huge impact on me. And yeah.
Hey,
So,
you never know
was-
the impact that you have on somebody, right?
yeah.
But it goes both ways. Anyway, let me get back to something, because I will. So, you ladies, you're thinking there's nobody good out there, right? They're all gone. There's this and that. No, Kurt was a good pick, and you didn't get married until recently, did you?
Yeah. It was, we just celebrated our 3rd year anniversary.
Yeah.
That's pretty new.
So Kurt, which I don't really know Kurt's
Congratulations.
wife, but more than likely, Kurt did not just go out with whoever. Kurt had some. He knew what he was looking for. Right, he wasn't just shacking up with somebody. He just wasn't this and that. He knew. I didn't even talk to Kurt about this, so I'm just assuming that he was probably trying. Probably didn't even know, but he was probably looking for somebody like his mom. Because I think when you're a girl, all of a sudden you get somebody like your dad, or when you're a guy, you get somebody like your mom. Mm-hmm. So Kurt's mom, man, she loved the Lord, right? She was always talking about the Lord, still talks about the Lord, loves the Lord. I mean, tremendously. So then Kurt wasn't just settling for whoever. He was looking for somebody that loved the Lord.
Absolutely.
Even if it took a while. Because I'm sure your mom's like, hey, are you ever going to get married? You ever going to have grandkids? Hey, am I always going to be? There was probably some of that going on, wasn't there?
There was a lot of, when I'd come back to Cherokee, I wanted a T-shirt that said, I'm still single. Yes, I've gained weight. And, I know all these things. You don't have to remind me. But, yeah, but I did. I saw my parents' marriage, and I saw the struggles that they went through. And I knew that I did not want to go through those struggles. And marriage is hard. Like, even with finding the right person, marriage is difficult.
Yeah.
But, God sanctifies you through marriage.
Yeah.
He draws you closer to himself through that, because you're dying to self, all the time. But I remember people would, especially I work with all ladies, I'm an elementary teacher, elementary principal, and they would try to set me up on, I know this girl. And I'm like,
Isn't that the worst?
oh yeah,
too?
it's awful.
I hate when people do that.
And so I was finally, got to, like, I went on blind date after blind date. And then with my wife, my brother and his wife were like, hey, we know this girl that goes to this church, or we have friends that go to this church and this girl. And so we want y'all to meet. And I said, no, I'm not.
Your brother?
Yeah, my brother was trying to set
Okay.
me up. And his wife, Ashley, was she's like, I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of not having a sister-in-law. And because I'm like, just coming in, blowing and going, doing whatever I wanted and whatever. But I said no. And then it took me a couple more months, and I was like, okay, but I don't want a blind date. I don't want to go to some restaurant and sit there awkwardly and have a conversation with, And so I was like, have a barbecue or have a little get together, and then I'll show up, and then y'all can introduce me. And that's what they did.
Okay.
And so I asked her, I said, the first time I met her, I was like, so what's your testimony?
That's what you asked her?
That was my first question. I was like, what's your testimony?
Wow.
And then, so later on, I learned that she went back to her mom and said, the first question he asked me was, what is my testimony? And her mom, and she goes, if he asked me tomorrow to marry him, I would say yes.
Wow.
And
You could have saved a lot of money.
it would save a lot of money, yeah, for real. But the cool
Sorry,
part, and I don't mean to get off, but
No.
the cool part of the story was that 4 or 5 years before that, I was at a basketball game, and I was an administration or an admin at this game, and Victoria's mom, her older brother, was playing basketball for miles. And so they were at the game. And she sat by me. And I was youth minister at Harriet and principal and all those things. And she was like, oh, you're such and such youth minister. And I was like, yeah. And we just got to talking. And I didn't think anything about it. I don't really even remember it. But she went and
Don't
called.
tell her that. You might have to cut this out of this.
I don't know. No, I mean, I was like, oh, okay. But then she went and called Victoria and said, hey, I found your husband. This is the guy you need to meet. You need to, And at the time, she was engaged to some loser.
She was?
Yeah, Victoria was.
Yeah.
And so she eventually, broke it off with him, of course. And
It's
then,
like a love story.
and then
It is.
we met 5 years later.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like a Nicholas Sparks book or
Hey.
something.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know who Nicholas Sparks is, but
writes-
he must write some good books.
Yeah, have you ever
probably
seen
seen
that
the
movie,
movies.
The Notebook?
Have he? The no, I don't. Hold on.
He wrote that, he
Yeah.
wrote that book. He wrote a lot of other
he
ones
did?
too.
Okay, that's good.
Well,
Yeah.
I got so tired of going on these blind dates and people saying, "Oh, they're Christian."
Yeah.
They're Christian. And I was like, "Okay, well, how do you know that they're a Christian girl?" Well, they put something on Facebook. That,
Yeah.
they shared a Bible
Oh.
verse. And so I got to the point where I would go on these dates and I go, "Okay, tell me your testimony." Just and then I'd be like, "Well, okay, see you later."
Could
Okay.
you sometimes
But-
see the question marks over their head?
Yeah, and they
What?
would be able
Like,
to tell or
what?
something.
But let me
Okay.
straighten some of this out, though. But let me straighten your test. Let me just
Not that
straighten
I-
you out. But when you ask somebody's your testimony, but if they give you their testimony and they had things in the past that weren't great, but now that God's changed them, that still would have been a testimony. You weren't
Absolutely.
just looking at a testimony as far as where's your testimony? You better line up all the credentials perfectly.
Right.
You were just wondering to know if they love the Lord or not.
Yeah. How did
Yes?
the Lord change their life? Yeah.
Yes. Hey, pay attention to this, ladies or guys. If you're sitting in a cell somewhere and you think there's no guy for me, yeah, maybe you just met this guy 3 years ago somewhere and you don't even know that God's putting it together 2 years from now.
Got to get it right before
Right?
you can have them.
Yes, but the thing about it is if you want a guy that's good, that treats you good, that's a good Christian guy, not perfect, but super close to it, right? But
Not
you
that I'm
wanna-
perfect.
Yeah, but if you want a guy, right, then guys that are good, they want good ladies. Right? They want somebody who loves the Lord too. So you can't expect a good guy to be in your chaos. That's just not going to happen. And then just like you girls, right? If you're a girl that loves the Lord, then you're going to want a guy that loves the Lord. Yes, you don't want the chaos of that.
Yeah.
So sometimes, right, God's got to mold you to who you need to be and who they need to be to put you together, even if it takes a little while.
That's right.
Because now you got a kid too, don't you?
Yeah. The Lord blessed us with a kid. He's
Yeah.
8 months old.
Oh my God, it's a little bitty baby.
Yeah.
It's a little bitty baby. No pun.
No pun.
No pun.
8 months old. That's so little.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh well, good for you, Kurt. I'm glad.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm glad
It's
for
been
you.
good.
But you did have to put up with. Oh, you're not getting married. Oh, you're
Yeah.
gonna be single the rest of your life. Oh,
All those
no.
things. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So
There's nothing wrong with me, but I want the right person.
exactly.
Congratulations. So anyway, that's how you do it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because
Yeah.
so
never
go
mind.
ahead, Kim.
I'm not going to say it.
Why not?
I said, or you can live like Paul.
Or you can live like Paul.
Or you can do that. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about
That's
that.
where I'm at in
you
life.
can.
And you know what? That may be okay too. Yes.
Yeah, just me and my bearded dragons loving the Lord.
Oh yeah. Oh, for you here, finally, I got another hunter here. So good. First thing he says, like, "Oh my God, look at that deer. That's awesome." Kim's like, "What?" Kim is into bearded dragons.
Okay.
Living dragon.
Living
living dragons.
Living
Yeah.
bearded
Yes, that I
dragons.
feed
dragons.
and take care of,
Yeah.
and I don't kill them.
Mounted on walls.
Yeah. She doesn't care if they eat bugs. That's okay. You could kill bugs.
Well, I don't care if you eat animals. I eat animals. I just don't think that you should kill them for sport. You should kill them
Okay.
for hunger.
Oh, I have a mounted iguana in my office.
Oh, you should never have
the
said
seat
that.
seats.
Wow.
Oh my God!
I know.
Kurt,
it's
be
an
careful because she will hit you.
It's an invasive
I've
species
been
in
to
Florida.
prison, bro.
Yeah, it's an invasive species. That's
I was
true.
I was
That's
helping
true.
Florida out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about us four here today is everybody is so different. Everybody.
I'm the normal one.
Yeah. She's the normal one. Yeah.
I was taking
But-
notes on his relationship stuff. I was like, wow, because
And I'm like, okay, I know what I don't want to do.
I know. How many ways have I failed this whole thing? All right.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know how many times I know because when I'm teaching girls in the prison system, I'm constantly saying, you know, why would you want to get involved with somebody where it's going to be drama all the time? Why would you want to get in a toxic relationship? Everybody's been in a toxic relationship. Why would you want to do that again? Right? I would never want to do that. So anyway, so the topic today is, how about one more story, Kurt?
Okay.
You want me to give you one?
Yeah.
So I was a youth minister at this church, and I got fired. 7 years. I know. I got fired. It's weird when you say you got
The way he
fired from
says
the
it.
church, right?
Like he's not mad.
It's
about it
crazy because
still.
I think all the kids liked me.
All the kids did love you.
All the kids liked me because I was super cool. We went to camp, right? One time they tried to wrap me up with silicone. Yeah, that didn't work. Don't do that to me. You're going to regret you ever did that. And then there was a kid named Josh. One of these days, I hope you watch this because I thought he had the keys in his deal, and I was screaming at him for you took the keys of the van. The van's locked. I can't believe it. Then come to find out, I had the keys in my pocket. Sorry, Josh.
That poor kid.
That poor kid. Whoops. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, anyway. So I got fired from this church, and I was thinking, I remember exactly why I got fired. It was because of Kurt.
What did I
Kurt's
do?
the one that got me fired because what happened was you handed me
my
a
God.
Yeah, he did. You handed me a track, one of those Bible tracks,
Which one?
the one that was with the Masonic Lodge.
Oh.
And you said, "Hey, what's up with this?"
I don't think I did that.
I think you did.
I don't know where I would have gotten that.
No, because we had those tracks because we were handing those tracks out. We had a bunch of them with Milena. And
or was that when we were in San Antonio handing out tracks?
I think we were in Austin.
Or Austin.
But I think we had those tracks. But those tracks there, it was like you couldn't do it because it had like Satan on it or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then you gave it to me, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Masonic Lodge, right? Like, I didn't know anything about the Masonic Lodge. Anyway, so that we had we had the Grand Poobah
Yeah.
there at Cherokee. He was the Grand
In our-
Poobah.
it was the deacon.
Yeah, he was had like a Fred Flintstone guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a big shot. Anyway, so I didn't know anything about it. So Kurt gives me this thing, and I look in it, and then the next Sunday at church, I said, here, man, you might want to look into this, right? And I just handed it to him. And the week after that, his old lady come up, you think we're witches? You think we're this? I said, well, no, what are you talking about? No, I don't think we're any. I know what? No, I just handed you the tract because I was thinking maybe you didn't know this. Anyway, poof. After that, it was all downhill.
Dang, Kurt.
Dang.
You got him fired.
Thanks, Kurt.
Sorry about
You
that.
stuffy
sounds like you
iguanas. You got
rescued him.
Tom
He
fired.
did rescue me.
Sounds like you rescued him
did. I
from a
saved
really
him.
rough
Yeah.
situation. is
That's a
what it
different
actually
story than
was.
you thought, huh?
Yeah.
So why do you think I got fired?
I don't even know. Like, really? I couldn't tell you why.
Oh,
I just thought you were just made people mad and they were,
I did make people mad.
Yeah.
I was
I
good
could-
with
I could
kids,
see
bad
that.
with adults,
yeah.
right? You remember there was a business meeting, the last story. Last story. It's not the last story, but it's the last story for right now. We were in a business meeting, and those are the boringest things you ever been to. But if you work at the church, you got to go, right? Kids were there and this and this. And then come to find out, these people wanted me to resign because I told one of the kids to do something. And I said, I didn't tell the kid to do that. And everybody swore that I told that girl to vote for something, this and that. I said, I never told her that. I never said that. Yeah, the lady who owned the store, she said you did. And then I'm like, oh my God. Then people were coming up to you need to resign. You need to resign. You need to resign. I'm like, what? Resign? No, I'm not going anywhere. Like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I had no idea what they were talking about. And then Jerry came to the rescue after months. And he said, yeah, I was sitting right by him. He never said that.
Oh, it just took him months.
No, it took more than a couple months because it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's a little different place, so it's kind of hard to speak out
Yeah.
when it's the pressure was on. I don't think anybody ever apologized for that either.
Probably not.
And then I think I told them that they were cheapskates because they never gave me a raise in like 7 years. And then that may have hurt, which I didn't care about the money, but whatever. Anyway, so let's talk about this. You all right with that? Mm-hmm. I look skinnier this way.
Trying to
Did you ever
cover up
notice that?
Trying to
I
cover up
tried.
the,
I kind of try to
belly.
do that to hide my
hide my belly.
my
You
box
do?
frame.
I like to do this to hide my.
I'm noticing. All right, so I'm
Spreading
listening and I'm
out.
paying attention, but I'm noticing because we can see ourselves. I'm noticing that I wore this oversized T-shirt, right? And I'm like, wow, it makes me look really big on camera.
So she's gonna start tucking it in.
I
I
should have
can't
wore
look
black.
because the camera's in the way. Sorry.
I should have wore black. I think black helps with
I
it.
wore black for like 3 weeks in
He
a row.
wore
and
the
then I gave
same
it
black
up.
shirt
I know.
every Thursday.
Every Thursday. We
Had
had
one
more,
black shirt.
and we had more views then too.
Yeah.
So maybe I should get back to the black shirt. Anyway, so last podcast we talked about, which we may never show you that last podcast that we talked about, but we talked about, is Jesus enough? Yes, is Jesus enough?
Yes.
And then I'm thinking to myself, I remember there was a time in my gig where I thought to myself, I could go anywhere in the world and talk about Jesus. I could go to the stake and talk about Jesus. Now I'm not so sure. I saw a picture the other day on Facebook that they had Isaiah hanging upside down, strapped to a pole, and they had a saw cutting him in half. And I'm like, cut in half that way where it's like right on your boom that way. Yes. Like, you know what? Like, you know, if you're going to saw me in half, like, could you start somewhere else than there?
Start with my head. Let me...
Yeah, I mean, start somewhere where it's going to kill me right off the bat, not where if the saw's dull, it's going to really not be a pleasant thing.
Sounds awful.
But then I'm thinking, man, would I be able to do that? You know, is my relationship with the Lord, you know, is he enough to go to that extent? I need to get back to that. I need to get back to that. So, does that make some sense? We live in a time, or we live here, where you don't really have that persecution. What's persecution? Oh, quit talking to me about Jesus. You're like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. You know, that's not really persecution.
Right.
You know, when somebody's going to be physically hurting you and harming you, and
Yeah, well, they
you
do
know.
that over there in like third world countries. You know, people that are believers, they're hiding one page, maybe like a piece that's torn off of a page of a Bible. They're keeping it hidden and like, you know, just so that they
Right.
can have this one little bitty piece of the Lord with them. And then if, you know, whatever, I don't want to put out like names of like religious people that are doing it, but you know, people are getting murdered for being a Christian.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there is some persecution. We just don't see it as much here in America, but in third world countries, they're seeing it, you know.
I know it.
People just getting lined up and getting,
Beheaded.
just
a lot of
because
places.
children, you know, and can you imagine being, you know, the person on your knees and they're asking, do you, you know, because that's what they ask, do you love God? Do you believe in God? And, you know, and some people cower out and they're like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And then there are some people, you know, they're like, yes, I believe in God.
Well, if it's the guillotine, I think, well, that's an easy deal. Except for when your head rolls around, you're like, you know, I don't know. I mean, how, you know,
I don't know how that
why
works.
do I always think of that? But if the guillotine seems like it's quick and easy, but you know, you're getting sawed in two by somebody. I mean, that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be. I'm not saying any of it's easy, but I think that, you know, for me now, I think I am one spoiled Christian.
Oh yeah.
I think
I
we
am
all
one.
are.
I am one spoiled Christian, and I don't. I mean, I don't want to be. I kind of like being spoiled, right? I kind of like. I don't mind going on mission trips, but it's kind of cool because I'm like, well, now I'm a missionary in my own hometown. Well, but am I? You know, or am I just satisfied? Am I just, you know, comfortable? I've
Right.
become comfortable. Believe it or not, I got more notes.
Wow, that's like 3 in a row.
I know. This made.
Maybe
Whoops.
4.
I don't need that. I got 2. Okay. Yeah, see, George, and I can't even read them, right?
You can always refer to one of your note
Need
cards.
your other glasses?
No, I got it. No. So I got a note here. It says the gospel is I can't even read that. This is why I hate school. And they've got me actually grading papers.
Now
in
try to be the
prison.
English teacher who gets that turned in, and I've got to figure out.
Well, I know exactly
Yeah,
what you
what
do.
did
You
they
put an
say?
F on it and you circle it and you say, I don't even know what this is. And then you bring it back. It's like, well, I don't even know what it is either.
But the Chat GPT it.
I know. I could have graduated from high school if I had that.
Can you
No
please
doubt
analyze
about
I
it.
went to
this?
graduate school.
The gospel is on the blood of Christ, right? The gospel is based on the blood of Christ. Is that not right?
Yeah.
The gospel grows because of the blood of Christ. The gospel doesn't grow because of money. I'm not saying that people can't use their money to you know, buy stuff and do what, you know, we get the CDs and all that. But usually the gospel it grows on the blood of Christ and on the blood of humans,
Martyrs, yeah.
martyrs. Right? So you know what? You wonder why Christianity is probably not growing so much. Is because Christians are so stingy and they're so selfish. And there's no difference between, there's no difference between Christians and non-Christians. A lot of times you say you're a Christian, like you said, on Facebook, but then, you wait 2 days and you're dropping F-bombs everywhere on the, whatever. But the thing about it is, like, I just, and I'm not wanting things to go sour, but sometimes that's when Christianity shows its face the best, is when things go sour and we stand up for it, even if it doesn't work out.
Right.
Right? Like those disciples, those guys would get flogged and then they would sing about it. How happy they were. If I'm getting flogged, I'm not singing about it, I'm whining about it. You know what I mean?
True.
So you know what? Maybe for me is Jesus enough? Because then I'm thinking, is Jesus enough? Because if this goes sour, then Jesus isn't enough. Is Jesus' blood? Is the blood on the cross enough? Is it enough for me to go down that road? Am I going to say, no, I don't want to be like my Savior? I don't want to be. I want to be hung upside down. I mean, am I going to say that? Or am I going to run off and get a spear in the back? Probably get a spear in the back. Because I'm wondering why people don't just run off, but they don't. Yes? But then the other day at the prison, I did say something. I said something about, they said, well, have a safe trip home. And I said, well, if I don't make it home, no better way to go than serving the Lord.
Yeah.
Right? And I think most of the time I'm not really thinking that way. I remember there was a time where I was thinking that way. And now that I think I've become comfortable, I want to go out serving the Lord. If it's salt and two, which I don't want to get salt and two, but whatever the case may be, is I want to go down serving the Lord no matter what happens. Right? Not saying I'm going to get cancer. I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not speaking that. But I'm just saying, if something does happen to me, I want to be able to still witness, and not about me, but about Christ in those times where Jesus is enough, no matter what the scenario. Yes.
Yeah.
But I catch myself whining so much. What do you guys think?
Why are you looking at me, George?
Well, you can't say that I didn't give you a heads up, because I have given you a heads up on this.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Just saying.
I missed one podcast.
So now, if I was a teacher, I just gave you the whole thing, and now it's finals time, and
test time.
boom, nothing.
No, I agree. Because I want to be. I've talked about this with someone. Whenever I die, they always say like the dash in between your birthday and then your death day. What is that dash gonna say?
Yeah.
And, I would like, and we've talked about. You've said something. I would like that dash to say, maybe she had made some bad choices but she turned her life around. And she followed God, and that she was devoted to serving the Lord and blah 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 blah. But as much as I want to put into serving God, sometimes I think I'm a lot like you. There are just some things I don't want to do, and I'm just like, okay, God, do I have to do that? Don't I serve you? But do I have to do that? And
That sounds like Jesus,
I
because
was gonna
Jesus
think the
did the
cup.
same thing.
because
Right?
I'm like, and so it kind of, whenever you had, told me about the topic, there are some things that had come up for me. It wasn't anything like that, but now that you're saying it and I'm hearing your opinion on it, sometimes it just kind of, I believe Jesus is enough, right?
Yeah.
I believe he's enough. Like, I know he's enough because it's in my life so
Yes.
profoundly. But whenever it comes down to it, there are moments in my life like now that maybe Jesus isn't enough because I'm not doing some of the things that I know I probably should.
Yeah, but it's
Or I
not,
do them and I complain about them.
I'm not trying to give anybody a guilt trip by no means, because I struggle with this.
Yeah.
But also give you a chance to think about that a little
Yeah.
bit more. But maybe it has something to do with when we didn't think we were enough.
Yeah.
So if we don't think we're enough, maybe somehow then we don't think Jesus is enough, because there's been people in our life that we thought they were enough, and come to find out they weren't. They let us down.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just be honest. Let me just put it out
Well,
there.
thank you, because you've been lying the whole time.
Let me just be transparent. Not honest. Let me just be transparent. So
Okay,
it doesn't sound like I'm
transparent.
just like trying to walk around something.
Thank you, because I was thinking,
So,
what are you doing?
In my life, I haven't had a lot of support from childhood on. Like, I did not have family support. I did not have healthy, you know, and now I'm in a place where I'm in a very good place. And I have had people that have come into my life now since I've been in prison or been out of prison, like, you know, this ministry being one of them. Get a lot of support from you too, you know, whatever. But none of it's family or people from my past. And now that I'm in a good place, there are certain situations where I'm getting these random people reaching out that are family, that they need some kind of support. And there's not enough God in me to give it to them. And I know, like, that sounds so messed up, right?
No, not necessarily.
Because I'm just like, where were you?
Yeah, but
through all
sometimes if
that?
God is telling you, I've battled this for a while. Sometimes if God is telling you no, then don't give it to him, because then God's working in their life.
Yeah.
Just because somebody wants something from you doesn't mean you have to give it because Jesus gave it. Because you know what? Jesus didn't give everybody everything.
That's true. I just watched that
Right?
on that show.
He gave them what they needed.
He gave them what
And
they
see, that's
needed.
my
That's
thing.
true.
Like, I always get exactly what I need. And sometimes it doesn't ever feel like enough, but it's always
But it's
enough
always
in the
enough.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of spit that back out, like, after I did the whole, look, you need to learn how to get more stable. You need to be able to do this. But then I get ate up with it. And I'm just like, well, maybe I just don't have enough God in me to be loving enough to his children that I would have mercy and grace and give that back.
That's Satan.
You think?
Yeah, I do. Did you get something? Did you got new things in your ears?
I just changed the colorful one. I have a bunch of different colors.
Sorry, but I'm looking at you and I'm thinking
Squirrel.
something's different.
It's because I have my hair. Look, I went to the dentist today and I'm going through some serious mouth pain.
Okay.
So I said, I'm not getting dressed up for the podcast. I'm going to go looking like this.
Oh, do you get dressed up? Oh, the
Wait,
other
did you
times?
match the earrings.
I mean,
too?
I usually like fix my hair and
All
stuff.
right. Let me something else that I got, because you know what I was thinking about. I was thinking about maybe sometimes I'm thinking Jesus isn't enough because, you know what, like my parents, they got a divorce, and then next thing you know that wasn't enough. And then I wrote some things down.
Oh, man.
I
I
too.
don't
Let me
know
just get
how
my
I
notes
feel
out.
Let me
about.
just be transparent.
I don't know how I feel about note-taking Tom.
Well, you're gonna like this because I need to. I need to take notes every once in a while. Just relax. Gives me a couple podcasts, and I'll never take another
Can you
note.
stop making me slow?
Okay. So, am I enough? No, I'm not enough. I'm not enough.
No,
Never
never.
been enough.
Never
And
been.
I've
None of
had
us.
lots of people tell me I've never been enough too. One time when I was younger, there was Pee Wee football. And I lived in a big city, right? I lived in Southern California. So there was a tryouts. So I didn't really know football, right? But my dad took me to the tryouts, and there was a couple of different tryouts. And you had to, the pads and everything, this and that. Well, I didn't make the team. I got cut. And I had to leave the pads and everything there, and I had to walk back to the car in my underwear.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah.
They did that?
Yeah, they did.
That
back
is
in those
not
days.
okay.
It's not okay. Now it would be weird. But I guess back in those days, here I am just humiliated, walking back to the car in my underwear because I wasn't good enough, right? I just wasn't. I mean, I should have went to school in Cherokee. I could have performed the halftime show. Anyway, so
We were
that was
needing a mascot. Yeah.
I could have been the
I
mascot.
could be better than a dog pooping.
Yeah.
It was. I could have been a
Tom
grown
can go
human
poop.
being to it. I could have been a wheel out there with Porta John, get on in there, wheel it back out. Like, woo, halftime's over.
Stop it.
You know what? When I was in high school, I wasn't good enough to make the baseball team. Right? Even in Little League, when I got to be a certain age, I didn't make the one. I didn't make the. They never would promote me into the next league. And the one guy said, "No, we already have enough 15-year-olds, man. I can't take another one." And I just remember some of those things were devastating, right? And then you know what? I played a lot of golf, but then when I moved to Corona del Mar, I mean, now you're dealing with a lot of people with a lot of money. So I tried out for the golf team. Actually thought I did pretty good. I got cut because I wasn't good enough. And then, I never finished school. Why? Because I just didn't think I was good enough. And it wasn't my gig, right? I just had a lot of people. And then through the years, in relationships, you're just not enough, where somebody would break up with you and, what for, just because they found somebody better or whatever, right? Maybe sometimes I didn't get a job because I wasn't good enough. I'm like, well, what's wrong with me? Right? Because I've had that. And then you get another job and say, I can't believe they fired you. Well, they did, or whatever. And then, the church right down the street here, at the time, I don't know if you remember this, or you probably don't, but the church they fired, they didn't want me. I was doing it for free, and they didn't want me. That's when I went to Cherokee.
Yeah.
And then when I would drive by the church on the way to go to teach you guys, I'd flip the place off. Did you ever know that?
You told me that, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd flip this. I mean, you weren't even thinking about it. You're just thinking about going out there. And then as soon as you got by this church, you would get so bitter that you'd flip it off. And I'm telling you, there was times where I rolled both windows down, flip them both off. I had the steering wheel on my knees. And then I'd pass by and I'd think, what am I doing? Anyway, I did that more than once. So, but it was one of those things where you just don't think you're enough, right? And then, you know what? It makes you do stuff that that's not you.
Yeah.
Right? And then, I got fired in Cherokee, right? I mean, how do you get fired in Cherokee? But you do. And next thing you know, you don't think you're enough, right? Then you go back to the church you were flipping off. And then in the ministry, right? Then people talking down to you. And next thing you know, I have to change the ministry name because I piss people off and I'm getting kicked out of my own ministry. Maybe not kicked out, but, you got to leave it and you got to start something different. But, for me, then you're not good enough, right? And then there's times in my life where, you know what? Like nowadays, it's kind of nice when somebody give me a compliment. It's nice because a lot of times my whole life, no compliments.
Yeah.
Right? And just people would, they just wouldn't say it. Like they just wouldn't say something nice. It's always backhanded or there's something like you're just not good enough. It's just crazy how it affects you emotionally. And, that's, there's probably more than that. But the one thing about it is, I finally realized that Jesus said I was enough. To Jesus, I'm enough. And if I'm enough to Jesus, he's got to be enough for me.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's never turned from me. Mm-hmm. He's never disappointed me. He's never rolled. He's always been there, flipping his church off. Whatever. When I get fired, he's still there. Tears are coming out. He still wrapped his arms around me. He still said, man, I got something way different for you. You have no idea what it is. I've got the perfect spot for you because I think you are enough. And that's what's changed my gig. So now I'm thinking, all right, Jesus thinks I'm enough, right? Jesus think you're enough? Absolutely.
Yeah. What I think is, when I got to the end of myself of thinking that I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Jesus says that no one's good, not one. And no one seeks the Lord, on their own merit. And it's because of Christ that we're good. It's because of God that he has given his righteousness to us. So we're made right because of him. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, reason we don't feel like enough because we're not enough is because Jesus is enough.
Yes.
And so through him, we have that, we're made right before God. Mm. And so now we're no longer in that old self of, when God looks at us, he no longer sees sinful Kurt. He sees the righteousness of Christ because of faith in him. And he tells us, like in Ephesians 2, that you're not saved by your works, that anybody can boast. You're saved by grace through faith. And before we knew Christ, we were enemies of God, but God sending his son, rich in mercy, I'm paraphrasing it, but because of Jesus, we're made right. And so we are enough through him. Not because, and he doesn't want us to stay the same. He doesn't want us to stay that old self. He wants us to know who we are, find our identity in him. And then that changes to be like him, to be like Christ.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Right.
So when you find your place, you find your calling. I mean, that's,
it's awesome.
Because your time in Cherokee wasn't in vain.
No,
that time
no.
was
I needed to do that.
that was time that God worked in your life and rearranged some things in your heart, and then when it was time to move on, sometimes we have to have a nudge to get us to go.
Yeah. One thing though, Kurt, is I had to drive by the first church that I'd flip off, and then I had to drive by the second church in Cherokee, which I never flipped off to get out there to go to San Saba. So I had learned something.
You had learned something.
Yeah.
It was changing your heart.
Even though I did get a ticket in Cherokee one time for driving 50. Like, you got to be
In
kidding me. I was here
Cherokee?
for 7 years. There was never a cop anywhere. Yeah. But when you were talking about that, so what comes to my mind is, and this could be totally theologically wrong, because I have been known to say
Great
some things.
disclaimer.
That was disclaimer. Yeah. But when Jesus is enough,
Yeah.
and I'm enough because of Jesus.
Because of Jesus. Yeah.
So if I'm saying Jesus isn't enough, then I'm saying I'm not enough.
Right.
So it's really a slap in Jesus' face, because if Jesus says I'm enough, why isn't that enough to go to the end? Because Jesus is the one that's going to save me from death. That's going to be enough.
People will say, I'm a sinner saved by grace. No, you were a sinner.
Yeah.
You were. That was your old self. Do you still mess up? Yeah, you're in your flesh. But you're the righteousness of Christ, because his righteousness, you're clothed in that. So you're more than just a sinner saved by grace.
Yeah.
You're made right. You're the righteousness of God through Christ.
Yeah.
Amen.
You're going to say that because you're going to talk into the camera about some of that too. All right, George, what do you think?
Who's going to talk on the camera?
Everybody.
Oh.
George is he's being a professional mime today.
I feel like I'm in the square. No, I just.
You got a note on your hand?
No, I wish.
Is what to say.
Wish I had a note in my hand. No, I feel like I'm not enough. To be blunt, I mean, we talk a lot, especially going into the prisons, which is so encouraging. I miss it. It's been a couple months. But right now, honestly, I feel like a lot of my gig is just it's rough. It's beating me up. Great way to.
No, it happens to a lot of people. Man's going through some tough stuff, but you still are enough through it.
Yeah.
Right? You got to fight through the parts where you think, and you got to get out of the where Satan's got you thinking you're a failure, or you're not good enough, or you're never going to make it, or it's never going to change, or all that other stuff, because Jesus conquered all that. Right?
Yeah.
His blood, like I said, is what makes it enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He is enough, so we don't have to be enough. He is.
Yeah.
If we're relying upon him, then yes, he is. Because I feel that way all the time. I'm like, I know I'm not. I feel inadequate in what I do, but it's because of the grace of God that I've gotten to do the things that I've gotten to do. And when I was struggling through singleness in that time of never thinking I was going to get married or whatever, and I would have feeling lonely, feeling inadequate, why is nobody, why can't I find somebody? And it was because God was preparing things, in advance, and I just needed to trust him. But even in my faithlessness, he was still faithful. Even when we don't feel like we're enough, he is faithful. So that is the most encouraging thing about, walking with the Lord, is that even when I'm not enough, he is enough.
And that was a while. I mean, that took a while.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was single forever.
Yeah.
I feel like.
The
Forever.
way he said, "Oh my gosh, I was single forever."
No, you
Well,
just feel like everybody around you get married, and you're just like,
through
and then it
your
was
20s.
like, yeah,
And then your brother beat you to get married, which
I
I never
know.
thought that would ever happen,
Me
Cody.
either. Yeah, I know. Where's Cody? Yeah. I remember I was talking to the youth at church, and my pastor's wife said, went home and told the pastor that night, Jeff. He said, I think Kurt's finally surrendered his singleness to the Lord. And so it wasn't like a few months after that he brought Victoria and I together. But even through that, so it took Victoria and I a while to get have a baby, for her to get pregnant.
Oh, good news.
And I know. But through that, through all that struggle,
Sorry,
it was relying upon God, and that we were at the point of adoption.
Really?
And we had our home study completed, and the next day, Victoria found out she was pregnant.
Wow. Okay.
That's a miracle,
It was
baby.
just it was just like God,
Oh my God, I want to see pictures of the baby.
When
show
you
you some.
surrender, boom.
when you
seems
surrender.
like,
But it takes surrendering.
Okay, note to self, don't surrender my singleness.
whatever. You know that. That's crazy. All right. Do I got anything else on this note card? I do, but you're not going to want to hear it.
Just give it to us.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me read something. I know. Read something. I really like this new microphone stand.
Oh yeah, rub it in.
Huh? Well, you want to give me? You want one? I'll get you one. Okay. What does it say? This is super simple. 2 Corinthians, right? My grace is sufficient for you, like you were talking, Kurt. Power is perfected in weakness.
Yeah.
Right. So, therefore, I will most gladly boast all the more about my weaknesses, which that's what I really need to do. Is not that I don't do that, but that's the thing about this podcast too, is when we share our weaknesses, when we share our struggles, when we open up about those, that's when God makes it strong.
Yeah.
When I get reserved and don't spit it out because for whatever reason, that's when I'm weak, right? So for me to go out and say, you know what, I am not enough, that's showing weakness as far as the world goes. But God's like, no, by you showing that, now I'm going to turn it into something that's super amazing that makes you strong. It's so bizarre. It's so backwards the way we're used to, because we're trained really not to say certain things because we're afraid what everybody's going to think. And I'm getting more and more, I need to get back to where it's a fine line, because I say things I shouldn't say that I just shouldn't say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But yet I need to say things that I should say that I don't say. I don't even know if that makes any sense, right? But anyway, so I should most gladly boast in all my weaknesses so that Christ's power may reside in me. Yes? And then what are we doing here, right? What are we doing? We're not doing a podcast because we're making any money at this, because we're not into this for money. We're in this to help people. We're into this to get people that are struggling, that are in a tough time in their life, that may be putting on a facade of everything's great, but yet I'm lonely in the prison system behind the bars, right? Or you got out of prison and you're trying to do things right and you're still struggling because you don't want to go backwards. Yes? So, I don't even know where I'm going with that. But I got to make sure I don't lose focus on I got to make sure that I got to remember that I'm not enough. I'm only enough through Christ. And what does it really matter what anybody else thinks? Because when I'm weak, when I'm vulnerable, when I share those things about like you never heard that. George never heard that. Neither did Kurt. When I was a young kid, going back to my dad's car at the field with people looking at you in your underwear because you had to take your equipment off. I mean, those things are devastating to a little kid with your self-esteem. And I had self-esteem issues when I was a little kid, and some of that just kept on going and going and going, right? But, like I said, Jesus is enough, and I got to be able to share those things because a lot of times people, like flipping the church off, like, oh, I can't believe you did that. Well, and I'm not the only person who's thought about F you at church, I mean, I'm just not the only one who's thought that. Yes? So, and I'm not perfect, but Christ makes me perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. And I got to make sure that we stay focused on that, because there's so many people that won't go to church because they think everybody's perfect in there. And how many times you go to church and it looks like everybody's perfect because nobody's afraid. Everybody's afraid to
Be
say
vulnerable.
be
Yeah.
vulnerable. I remember there was a pastor who smoked and he got lung cancer. And I remember a group of kids or a couple of people coming to the church and wanted to pray for him. He said no. He would not let them pray for him. And I thought, that's bizarre. Why would you not let them pray for you? Right?
Yeah.
Why would you not? Anyway, I just
Pride.
thought pride.
Yeah.
Pride. I remember because I was having a struggle there in Cherokee for a while, and we were going to go on the trip, and they wouldn't let me take the kids. They decided that they didn't want the kids to go to on another mission trip. And what I did is I found a loophole.
Turned 18.
Turned
Take us.
18. So when the kids turned 18, I took them. Well, the church didn't like that, but there was nothing they could do. Anyway, I brought some people in. We had a little thing, and it looked like everything was going to go, like there was going to be forgiveness and everything. I brought some people in, and it was so close. It was so close, and it never happened. Like
pride.
the forgiveness to where it could have came together. And a lot of times it's because we're so afraid of what everybody else is going to think. God was right on the verge of just like doing a giant healing, but yet pride jumps in the way because all of a sudden, our am I enough is based on what you think instead of what God thinks.
Yeah.
Maybe this is too heavy for a podcast.
No, I think it's good. Like your self-esteem, our self-esteem issues boil down to they build up to pridefulness because we don't want people to know that we have those self-esteem issues, or we don't want people to know that we fail, and so or we're afraid of apologizing or whatever because of pride gets in the way.
And then we're not weak, and then we're thinking we're strong, but then we're actually it's not
Weak. Yeah.
So let me read a little bit more. That may be good. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe we'll have 3 views, me, myself, and I.
Oh my God, you're so dramatic.
I'm so dramatic.
You're dramatic.
I'm dramatic. Jumpmatic. So anyway, therefore I will most gladly. I mean, who talks like that? Regular English people, normal people. Anyway, most gladly boast in all the more about my weakness, so that Christ's power may reside in me. I want Christ's power to reside in me.
Yeah.
And if Christ's power is going to reside in me because of my weaknesses, then I need to learn how to be who I am and be weak in those situations. Does that make some sense? So I will take pleasure in weakness. So difficult because I don't like to take pleasure in weakness. Weakness is one of those things that makes us feel bad.
Yeah, but it's different
But-
because you're a boy.
What? I'm a grown man.
Okay, a grown man.
What do you mean it's different?
Like, y'all don't like to be weak. Like, y'all don't like to.
That's true.
Yeah.
That
So
is
it's
true.
more difficult for you. Whereas I talk very transparently about like where my shortcomings are and my weaknesses
You
are.
do, Kim, and you're very vocal about that, which is great. But not everybody's vocal about that. Not
Yeah, 'cause
all
you're a-
girls are.
'cause you're a
No,
man, and so there's more
no,
pride
no,
with that, right?
Not all girls are. Some
Really?
girls are afraid to share their stuff too.
Why?
Well, because they're girls. I don't know why.
not true.
Because it's just human nature. But
Image.
no, I think that's what makes you amazing here is because you can step out and be a little bit vulnerable about your past. Even though, disclaimer, she did say you can look me up on the internet and see what I've done wrong anyway.
Oh.
Remember?
Yeah.
So technically you're really not hiding anything.
He's talking about how a lot of, especially prison women, guarded.
Yeah.
You don't show all your
I
cards.
guess it's because I've been in prison and women are very quick to tell their stories.
Okay.
They are.
I think girls are quicker to tell their stories than guys. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, because I've dealt with both, and guys are a little bit harder to, they gotta, they're men.
They're prideful. Yeah.
Like y'all don't like to, like men don't like to be weak, right? Because y'all are supposed to be like the strong backbone and the, so y'all,
But
so
then-
it's more difficult for y'all, right?
Yeah, but then the thing about it is, then you think Jesus is weak. But no, Jesus, when you look at it, Jesus is strong.
Jesus is,
He's awesome, right? But he was strong to go through what he did. He
Yeah.
never held it back. I mean, just think. Okay, so if we think Jesus is enough, right? God's enough, yes?
Yeah.
But then we always ask questions like, oh, God, why? Why is this? Why is that? Yes?
Yeah.
Even Jesus asked why.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Did he ask why?
Why? Why have you forsaken me?
No.
Can you take this cup from me? It's kind of like, hey, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Which I guess he knew why was happening, but why have you forsaken me? That was a new one for me. I'm like,
Yeah. He was like it's a part of a psalm. So he was like reading or he's quoting a psalm.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he even
22, I think.
Yeah.
he also even asked like if there's another way.
If there's another
Please
way.
let this cup pass from me.
Yeah.
Anyways, but he was super vulnerable.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing that ever happened to people.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so I will take pleasure in weakness, which is something I'm still going to have to work on. But I actually like it when somebody, especially in the prison system in a class, when somebody's vulnerable. Dude, yesterday a girl shared that one of her problems was she had a twin brother. And the mom said that they already had a daughter and now they had a son. So she was the extra daughter and they wish they would have never had her because she was a mistake because they really only wanted a son. I'm like, no way.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, and it still haunts me to this day. I'm like, oh my God, like who tells their kid that? And anyway, you could feel the mood in the room change to where you could just feel Jesus in the room with compassion for her.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? You're thinking, oh, no parent would say that. Well, I'll tell you what, I've heard some stuff in the prison system where you're like, OMG.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I will, not anyway, but because that was a heavy deal. So I will take pleasure in weakness, in insults, because I'm not really good at, hey, insulting me, right on. Not good at that. Catastrophes. I don't like catastrophes. I'm not taking pleasure in catastrophes, which I need to. Persecutions and in pressures because of Christ, for when I am weak, then I am strong. Yes? Mm-hmm. So the thing about it is Jesus enough? He's enough in every situation. But it was, like I said earlier, Jesus' blood that's what makes us enough. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know if I could put that together. So if Jesus says I'm enough, even if it's catastrophe, even if it's a set-off, even if somebody breaks up with me, even if I have to walk across the field in my underwear, whatever the case may be, is I should be glad in the weaknesses and the catastrophes and the insults and in the persecutions that I am still enough because of Christ, because Jesus is enough.
That's right.
Yes? And I catch myself being in the world, being whiny, moany, complainy because of those things that are going on with me, instead of having the mind of Christ where I should be glad that those things are happening to me, to know. Because I think when those things happen to me and I'm real about it, that's when the gospel actually spreads.
Yeah.
Boom. That's a crazy sermon right there. Sorry, I got a little heavy on that, but it's so true. That's just what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, that's
right?
good. It's like James 1. Blessed are those who are persecuted.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but I don't really like getting
You
persecuted.
don't want to be persecuted or tempted or going through trials. That's what it is.
I like compliments.
Blessed is the man who goes through trials.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
I like compliments. Well, George, you've been quiet again. What happened to your white shoes?
I went black.
Oh, okay. Well, those are good looking. Kimbo, what are you thinking?
No, I like it. I like what you had to say. I like what I shared with you what my Jesus is enough thing. My big thing is about.
We got the bass going outside.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if y'all can hear it on camera, but someone's bumping back out there.
Yeah.
My big thing is, no big secret, obviously I lived a very wayward life. I landed in prison. I was gone for 12 years. I have a daughter. She was 2 when I left, and she was 15 when I got out, and that's a long time. And so I deal with a lot of, like, the teenager, like, I can't even speak on what it is, like, 'cause I don't know if she's mad at me or if she's just uncomfortable around me. I don't know, because You know, I've heard that she doesn't want a relationship with me. And then I've heard like, no, she's good. Like, I don't know. But I know there's not a relationship, you know, and there's not anything that I can do that I have not been doing since me following God and changing my life and stepping out in faith and just trusting, believing that it's all in his plans. And I really like what you say, because I try not to talk about it too much because of like, I don't know. I guess it's, for me as a mother, like it's embarrassing. It's very heartbreaking, you know, because like what kind of mom isn't like with their child? And like I try so hard, you know, and whenever you were talking about like we should boast in our weakness, and that's like my big weakness in life right now is the desire of, you know, it's not that I've never loved her, and it's not that I never wanted to be her mom after I had her. It's just like I just didn't know how to live sober, and I didn't know how to have a healthy life. I've never had that. And then I ended up pregnant. I got pregnant in addiction, and I'm just supposed to be, you know, and I just didn't know. And I can't take it back, you know. And
You can't take it back.
what you said about like we should boast in those weaknesses, like, because I know that now, like if I was ever to get a chance with her, like I know I'm going to be a phenomenal mother to her.
Yeah.
Maybe it's later on in life, and there's so much that I have experienced that can be
No doubt.
helpful to her.
Yeah.
You know, struggling adolescent, but I would give anything just to have her being mean to me in my home, you know, and not being
Careful what you ask for.
not being away from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my big Jesus is enough thing I was going to share last week. But that really, you know, I try to put on a good face, like, oh yeah, she's just a teenager, you know, blah 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 blah. But like, really, that's like my big weakness.
Okay, but you're saying, but what you are saying, it's funny because I can look at others and give them encouragement, but it's hard to do it myself because people are like, why are you so hard on yourself? I don't know, it's just them. But you know what, when you share, yeah, but here's what I'm thinking with your story is God is preparing you for the time where it does come together. And it's going to come together, and you're going to be a great mom, right?
I hope so.
I know, because you know what? When that was the old Kim, now God's got the new Kim, who is amazing, who's saving her money, who's got her life together, who's, you know, got a good career, who's serving the Lord, who's doing all that stupid nerdy gamey crap, you know. But
which my daughter is
I know.
into.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
But the thing about it, so I can not that I can see it, but you can kind of see it. I can see God putting it together.
Yeah.
But Kurt doesn't even know you, and I know he's thinking the same thing, right? He can see you put it together.
Thanks.
And then, you know, what's super cool is, though, you know, is Jesus enough? Yes, because he's helping you to get through it. You know, you don't really like it, but in a weird kind of way, it's almost like you are glad that God is that it's happening, because you know God's going to turn it around. Right? That's kind of like boasting in a.
Yeah, that's kind of like my thing when I texted it to you the other day, and I was like, even if it doesn't work out and I don't ever get to be that mom, like Jesus will always still be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what, that's what Jesus does. He restores. His restoration. I mean, that's what he's great at. That and mercy and grace. He's good at that too.
He's good at that.
But he's good at restoring stuff. And I'll tell you what, when your heart is right, he will restore it.
Yeah.
Kurt, your parents?
My parents, yeah. So like my mom and dad. I mean, my dad was an alcoholic. You know, a lot of things happen, and within their marriage. And then my mom decided, you know, I'm not doing this anymore, and so they split. My dad gets saved. He hasn't drank in over 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, and now, I mean, after 7 years, it was weird when your parents start dating again, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I just finally got over this. Now you're back to dating? Like, what's up with this? And then, you know, it was just a beautiful picture of God taking shattered things and putting them back together. And that's what he does. Like, that's who he is. He's the God of restoration. He's the God of fixing and healing and all the things. And so I mean, your life is a beautiful picture of what God can do.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, your relationship with your daughter may not be where you want it to be, but keep seeking the Lord, trusting Him, and ask and praying for healing within that, and it'll come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God is faithful,
He
even
is.
when we're not.
Yeah.
And he's enough.
And He's enough.
He's
Yeah.
enough, right? And that's heartbreaking,
Yeah,
right?
that's hard.
But I feel your, because I'm the guy who's always saying, "Dude, he's a teenager. She's a teenager. Just relax. When she's 25, she'll come back." Right? Because teenagers are just knuckleheads.
I mean, she
They
is.
are.
She is
There's nothing you can
17. And I hear 17 and 18, they're kind of rough. So.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, as I told you the other day, but when my kids were okay until they were seniors, and then they acted retarded. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what's up with these kids? Like, what happened?
Was
Like,
Jesus
Like
enough in those
senioritis
moments?
is
He
a real
was.
thing, right?
yeah, it was just like, what's happening? And then I realized, oh, this is God's way of training me to help them to leave because I am ready for them to go now. I wasn't ready for them to go. And then Sean, he took off. It was great. Then Stephanie became a senior. And I'm like, what happened to her? You're right. And then she moved on like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then they had some problems. But whatever.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that maybe, I don't want my kid to have problems, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Jesus
Nah,
is enough.
Yeah, Jesus is enough. All right. So what time is it?
I don't know, but I will say this.
I can't see it.
We're at hour 15 in.
You have had
Okay,
me
well-
smiling and laughing this whole time that my teeth have killed me the entire
Okay.
podcast.
Sorry.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, we'll end. Well, some of it we started early, so it's probably cut down. All right, so let's do what we normally do. Let's say something positive, encourage somebody in your camera, right? Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Let Kurt go first
Don't
this
forget
time.
who
No.
we're talking about. Kurt, we're talking to somebody who may be watching this in the prison system, or somebody who's alone,
Yeah.
or some. They just need an encouragement, whatever it is.
Just-
Here's your camera right there.
Right there. Okay. Just know that God has a plan for your life, and He loves you, and if you're struggling with loneliness or feeling inadequate, know that God is enough, and that you can trust your heart and life with Him, and that because of Him and because of His righteousness, you are made right and you are made enough because of God.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good stuff. Kim, here's your camera, which I know
that
you
one?
know that already.
I think the biggest, I guess what I could say today is like, it doesn't matter like how big your struggle is, right? And it doesn't, you can be doing your best. Do what the kids say, you could be standing on business, but still have some of the deepest struggles, right?
Never heard that.
It's a slang thing.
Okay. Well, I figured it
learned
was.
it.
I figured it was.
I learned it
slang.
from the young people at work.
Okay.
Anyway, so there's no struggle that God is not, He's not present in, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And in those moments, there's just take the time to dig a little bit deeper into prayer, a little bit deeper into Word, a little bit deeper into that quiet time and peacefulness with God, and just listen to Him and really try to take it when He's trying to tell you, where He's trying to lead you, because in the midst of the pain, God is definitely there. And in the midst of the waiting, for anyone that might be waiting on like parole or answers or results or whatever, like God is in the waiting room sitting with you. So don't be anxious. You just have to get up and put your best foot forward. And sometimes you do have to fake it to make it. You got to make yourself have that hopeful spirit. You have got to make yourself have that faith. You've got to make yourself have that joy. And God will be there with you in that struggle trying to get there. So that's it.
I like that. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Which I probably heard it. I probably said it 3 times, but I can't remember.
What?
God's in the waiting room with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I believe that.
I know, but that's really
Yes.
that's really good stuff
I like
right
to.
there. That's
there's
a nugget.
It is a nugget.
Yeah.
There's a book called Two Chairs. And
2 chairs?
Yeah, and I can't tell you the whole thing, but like,
Well, good, 'cause
it's
we don't have that
basically
much
talk
time.
about a conversation. Like you have 2 chairs, and there's a chair across from you. It's empty. That's your chair for God.
Oh,
and you sit,
okay.
and it's like you. And so I read that book, and then I don't know. I just kind of one day I just lived off that in prison. I was just like, because you're waiting for everything
Yeah.
in prison. And so I always said, like, I felt like I was in a blank waiting room, no windows, just a chair. So I decided to put Jesus's chair in there with me.
Oh.
And it got me through. It's a mental thing.
That's a good idea.
It is.
I hope I remember that sometime. The Jesus chair. Yeah, but that's great.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right, so you know what? We're almost rolling. So it was good to see you, Kurt. Right?
It's good to see you
It
too.
was
Right.
nice meeting you.
Yeah, it's
good
nice
meeting
y'all.
you. So for you that are in, if you're in prison, wherever you are, whatever your struggles are, your loneliness or whatever, like Kurt was saying, is, or you know what? Maybe you just had things where you just don't think you're enough. Well, you know what? Come to find out, you're just not enough.
No.
And I'm just not enough. And we're just not enough. But Jesus is enough.
Yes.
Yes.
And through Jesus is being enough makes you enough. Because when you trust him, he comes to live in you, which there's nothing more enough than that.
Amen.
Yes? But we're so busy wrapped up on our performance and the things we've screwed up and all this. But Jesus isn't looking at us through that lens. He's looking through the lens of him. He's enough. So he's looking at me through that lens to make me enough. I'm looking at the lens back through me to think I'm not enough, which is okay because I'm not. But I got to make sure that I'm okay, that Jesus says I'm enough. And I want to tell you what, I'm picking that up. I have left some stuff on the ground before, but I'm picking that up. If Jesus says I'm enough, I'm enough. That's why I'm Mr. Amazing, because I'm enough. Because Jesus says I'm enough, right? So whatever that's worth today, you know what? I just pray that your time goes by fast, that your set-off gets your 80-20, whatever. I still don't understand the 80-20 thing.
80-20?
That's like a
the
state
80-20%.
thing. The 80-20%. Right? Somebody said, well, I didn't get my 80-20. I said, well, did you get like the 70-30? Anyway, but you know what? Have a good week, and God bless you, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about a tax form. I was like, what?